Welcome, everybody, to the show that doesn't have a drinking problem. It has a podcast problem. I'm an unfortunate son of a gun that can't get past his own issues in terms of, setting up the podcast and, other problems. So I self-medicate. Justin, how are you doing?
Oh, I am doing fabulous. Very happy to be here. I think we got it running properly this time. So let's see how it goes.
Pedro, I know you've had a little bit of an issue, and we're going to get into more of that. Tariffs have been the bane of your existence of late.
It's very true. I'm sipping a whiskey right now. It's probably my 7th of the day, probably in the past 2 hours or so. And I'm happy to get into it. Excited to be here.
And Moses, we're also going to have a solemn part of this podcast. Val Kilmer recently passed away.
Yes, he means a lot to me from his most famous movie, MacGruber. And I think I do have a drinking problem. There's a lot of drinks here.
There are actually. I didn't even really look at it before.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Across the spread, where several of us do have multiple drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see at minimum in front of you at the moment.
Yeah,
and an empty glass.
And an empty glass. Which we'll
see,
get.
that's the drinking problem I have.
And speaking of that empty glass, you can hit us up at loudandrunk.com, where you can check out some cool merch that the lovely Moses, Pedro, and Justin are currently showing off. That is some spiffy glassware, and I am shilling so hard for loudandrunk.com. So,
Dan, if you don't mind, I'd like to pour myself a little bit of a full glass of this beer right here.
Oh, go right ahead.
We also have T-shirts. We're not showing those off tonight.
Yeah.
I do not know how to pour beer.
So make sure that you.
So I'm going to put that there and drink out of this.
Make sure that you bookmark loudandrunk.com. You can catch up on the podcast. We also have T-shirts, as Justin said. And Moses is, you can harangue him via the contact page.
Yeah, you could try.
Also, we're on YouTube and Rumble. That's where you're watching this. So make sure that you give us a like. You can also leave us a comment. You can insult us. That seems to be the new fad of late. And, you can share it with your friends. That's probably the thing that you should do the most.
I'm wearing this hat for all the haters out there.
And if they're going to insult, come on, pick it up a little bit.
Make it good.
Yeah, because it's kind of lame.
Make it good, and you might end up being read out on this podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so now, also we're on social media. We're on Twitter, X, whatever you like to call it, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are, posting shorts on all of those platforms and on YouTube. So make sure that you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all those social media platforms. Okay, guys. Pedro, you're going to be the fullback on this one because the bane of your existence has been these tariffs. It's been all over the place.
A lot of pressure.
That's a sports term.
Yes, it is. And also, it's a dated sports term because no one really uses a fullback anymore.
That's because of the tariffs, right?
Yes.
It is because of the tariffs. That was the first thing to suffer.
So rather than, because everyone is talking about the tariffs, and rather than just get into the whole rigmarole of, Trump great, Trump bad, I figured that you could give us an insight of how it's impacting small businesses.
So for myself, I'm certainly in the weeds with it, probably even more than most people are, but indeed it is the talk of the town, as it probably should be. So for myself, having a quintessential small business in the U.S., I deal a lot, and basically it's all consumer goods that we sell. So it's stuff that we design. And then, resellers sell to other businesses that sell to their customers and what have you. And so stuff isn't, God damn it. And so a lot of the stuff that we sell, just so much of what's, bought and sold in America is made in China or in other countries and so on and so forth. So we do all of the designing here. We do all of the service part of it here. And that's how we make money. You're so distracting.
Now you know how I felt when I'm trying to shill for the website and you guys are doing all these movements.
I know, it's challenging. But when he's doing it to me, I'm actually offended.
Thank you.
Yeah. But basically the gist of it is that the tariffs themselves kind of even though it was talked about for so long, I think the scope of it really blindsided everybody. Because they're a lot. It's not a little bit, I don't need to reiterate what people see in the news, but it's right now we're at 145% tariffs on China.
For clarification, that's just for China.
Yeah.
The rest of the tariffs as far as I know, have had 90-day pause because they're going to negotiate.
Well,
that.
he did. Yeah.
At this moment.
At this moment.
So they did like some of the tariffs. You're like halfway right with it. Some of the I brought that in for you because you're one of those billionaires that I hate. Some of the tariffs
I could afford that
were paused for 90 days against every country except for China.
Yeah.
Many of them remain in place. Like the blanket 10% tariff on the whole world, that remains right.
Okay.
Right. So in other words, like the tariffs are still for everybody so much higher than they were. And for China, they're just like absolutely insane. My perspective on it, like the political angle, is that it's just like a pissing contest, basically. I'm not paid enough or qualified enough to comment on the nuances of that. What I can say from the perspective, just as like being somebody who's involved in, import export, it's completely catastrophic. It more or less stops the entirety of the trade that we were doing with the rest of the world. So I can't get goods in at all. So I can't sell goods. So paying everybody who works at, like who I work with, that becomes a challenge. The customers that I work with who run businesses in the US, they're like, how can I buy shit from you? And I'm like, maybe you can't, So that's more or less where we're at with it. And I just don't really, honestly, it's so difficult to add to it because it's just uncertainty. No one really knows how to proceed right now. And because it was so wavy, where it's like, here's a tariff, I took it back, and then I doubled it and so on and so forth. It makes it so difficult to just know what the fuck you're supposed to do. And likewise, I can't just go and get this stuff from an American supplier because there isn't one, or if there is an American supplier, it's like 20 times the price and then no one can afford to buy it in this country. So what do you do? And so like my situation for the past week has been just, putting out fires. How do I, work around this, hoping that it's temporary.
And remain cost viable and everything along those lines.
So follow-up question for you. I know you just did a whole bunch, so I'll let you down some whiskey. Or that's actually, is that the bullet bourbon?
It is. It is.
Okay. Well, you definitely need it.
Yeah.
So we have
I gotta
talked off.
drink it before the price goes up.
We have talked off mic before as to why you needed to get the goods from China.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful because you could, just based on the way I'm dressed, I'm an economic nationalist. I think we should make more shit in the United States.
Yeah.
I think we should buy more stuff from the United States.
The problem is that we give that industry away.
We do. And so I think it would be very helpful if Pedro enlightens the audience as to why that is the case.
I'm happy to do so. As you guys know, and as I've mentioned on the podcast, I travel around to a lot of dive bars and chat with people routinely who bring up that question with me where it's like, before all of this happened and everybody got pissed off, people would routinely kind of tout that line of bring the jobs back, bring the manufacturing back. The reality of it is that I started to shift things over for my business from American suppliers to suppliers overseas, not just because it was cheaper, though it is. And I can explain to a degree why it is cheaper. And I can mostly speak about China. Obviously, it varies. Some places it's cheaper because the labor's cheaper. There's a million reasons, right? For myself, it was kind of the whole thing. It's that the American suppliers, they're still getting their stuff from China. So it's not like they're really making it here, They're still getting it from China. They're reselling it to me. So there's a big part of the markup. The service, and I hate to say it as an American, but it's the service that I get from foreign factories is often so much better than it is from an American factory. And that's not a universal, obviously. It depends on the business. The same way as you could deal with a plumber that you absolutely love and then hire a different plumber and he fucks you over and doesn't answer his phone, when your pipes are leaking, that sort of thing. So I think that part of it is that. My experience though with service is that it's been excellent working overseas. I chalk that up to just that they're really desperate to keep your business. They don't want to fuck it up even once because you'll turn around and leave. So that's part of it.
Also, they're a dime a dozen over there too.
There's a lot more factories doing the same thing.
Small fish, big pond kind of situation over there.
The quality that they're able to produce, and I can only speak about basic consumer goods, because usually when I talk to people at all of the podunk bars that I love chilling at, they'll talk about oh yeah, well things are cheaper because they're using slave labor over there or something like that. And I don't know enough about it to say that sort of thing is not happening at any given place in the world. Or here or wherever. But what I will tell you is that when I do it's like a virtual tour basically. So it's like a tour of the factory type of thing. what I will say is that American factories where you're doing something like making beer koozies or something like that, something that I deal in, and like I've produced these things before. I've screen printed T-shirts. I've made a lot of the things that I sell myself, and the scale that we can do here doesn't compare to what you can do in a country like China or India, where they've got 1 billion plus people. And it's not that the people are doing the work in the way that we might imagine, where it's people getting paid, a nickel a day. There are countries like that. But instead, when I do these virtual tours, it's incredibly automated factories that take up, like we would call them cities, and it's machines that are doing the work. And it's like one person in in basically like the clean gear, like a lab coat, walking around making sure the machines are doing it. The scale is just absolutely insane.
Let me jump in real quick. That will add to the point. It's not so much with China, but it's the same thing because China, United States, it's the battle of the two superpowers, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you can argue that this is all happening because I've heard some arguments that they want Trump and the United States government wants to deplete the economy of China to prevent a potential attack on Taiwan.
Decoupling, they call it.
Yes, exactly. Yes. What I was likening to your point is that we have tried to bring, because Taiwan has a monopoly on chips.
Yes.
For the computers, phones,
TCMC,
everything.
I think it's called.
Exactly. They have tried to move those businesses here, and we've discussed this off mic, and the Taiwanese have said, we can't, you suck at this, essentially.
Yeah. I think that's a big aspect of it. It's that, and that goes into like types of things that, we don't have time to get into, and maybe even shouldn't. Yeah. But it's like the way in which people work, like the value
the greasy
that we put to
McDonald fingers that we have over here.
It changes with time, though. Yeah. And like the way that I usually pitch it to people, as to whether that's true or not, and I do think there's a lot of truth in that, it's that what we have in this country today is service jobs. 70% of the economy is service jobs, right? So my job is a service job. I design shit, I market it, we store it in a warehouse, and we ship it out. Basically, all of that is service. I'm not like working the machine itself that does it. Service jobs pay better than the actual manufacturing jobs. When you try and bring back jobs like that, you're not going to pay the people as much to do it. It's a lower income job, is what it is. And for Americans to work, they want compensation that's going to be in tune with what it costs to live here. And this is an expensive country. That's really what it comes down to. We live in New Jersey, which is even more expensive. Yep. So yeah, I think that when they talk about, and be it when I mean they, it's like whoever, because Democrats and Republicans both talk about we're going to bring jobs back because they're buying votes.
Because that's how you get votes.
But that's not like what I dislike about that is that they're clearly pandering to people who, and I have nothing against them, but like people who work in the Rust Belt and what have you, where they had like legitimate jobs building cars and things like that. Like that's a job that can pay very well. Like I get that. But if you want to talk about making beer koozies in this country, what's that going to pay you? And what are you going? How are you going to motivate somebody to do that job seriously? And when you're talking about something like chips, and I'm much more limited in my knowledge with that, but you're still talking about like it's like a rubber stamp, work day. You're punching a clock, you're doing one thing, hitting a button. Not to say that the job doesn't, deserve compensation, what have you, but it's not
rewarding.
It's not rewarding by American standards, and it's a big. When you look at like economic evolution, then its countries go from extraction, we mine and things like that, and you get agriculture and textiles. And eventually you're manufacturing more complex products. And then eventually you're in the service industry. So the U.S. is where we wanted to be, Not to say that we shouldn't have manufacturing or anything like that, but we don't need to make beer koozies. We don't need to be knitting T-shirts.
I agree with you on that. However, we did run into something, and I'm sorry to bring up COVID. We did run into the issue because you can make the case that we were going to run into this regardless at some point, because if China did act on Taiwan and we were like, no, we'll defend Taiwan. Well, China would just be like, all right, there goes all your shit.
Right. So I'll chime in on that and say, because I do agree, right? With that gets back to, and maybe this is what the government's talking about right now, where they're basically, what it really comes down to is the choice that you want to make. We have a globalized world right now, to whatever degree you want to, acknowledge that exists. If you want that, then it results in you as the consumer here in the U.S. getting cheap goods, cheap consumer goods. The bottom line is that if you want a beer koozie, something that people didn't have in the 1920s, let's say, I'm speculating, but that's probably true, right? If you want that and you want it for a couple of bucks, well, then you can't make it here. We don't have the resources to do it at that price. So you could definitely have everything be here in the U.S., but you won't have a lot of the things that you want, at least for the price.
Well, it's also not going to be for the price. I've run into that.
Yeah.
Being an economic nationalist, I have tried to buy things that are cheap, but they are 5 times the price.
Exactly.
Like, I'll use, for example, socks. Socks are cheap.
Yeah.
I've gotten like a pair that were made in America for $15.
And the cotton still came from somewhere else. The bottom line that I would say is that it's not that one way is right and the other one is wrong. I think this is a classic political mistake that people make. It's that there's some sort of a right way to do it. If there was a right way to do everything, then people would be doing it that way. That's not the case. It's that there's a trade-off between these things. So if you want that world where we make everything here, then get ready to pay a whole hell of a lot, which also means that you won't just be paying more. So it just won't exist. If there's not enough of a market, then it won't exist. The flip side of that is that when you want and get those cheap goods, which, let's be honest, we all do appreciate getting these cheap things for the price that we're getting them for. I mean, that's everybody, for the most part. You're more fickle about it than many, but I mean, it's the truth, If you want to get those things, then it does inherently mean that the country that you're getting them from is going to have some leverage on you. So then that becomes a really ultimate question of, does this globalized world last? Do I fight a war with China and then I have to deal with that? And it's like, how do you can't answer that as a consumer. You can have an opinion about it. But it's like you're dealing with structures and systems and countries that are way beyond our pay grade. And I would argue beyond the pay grade of our elected officials, no matter who they are or what party they belong to.
It's interesting because obviously we're talking about a very hot topic, thing right now. And I've even found that a lot of people don't even know how tariffs work.
No, they don't.
They think it's like something charged to the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And
it's just a tax on us.
And whoever is doing the importing is ultimately the first hit, and then it all gets down regulated from there.
Yeah.
And this is not anything particularly new in its broad spectrum. It's kind of new, but pretty much everybody since Reagan has done some degree of more pointed tariff wars, like 87, the 100% taxation on Japan. Trying to deal with the Japanese auto industry at the time.
Protectionism.
The EU thing in 1993 with the whole banana thing.
And even then, Trump recently had a speech or a media availability or whatever, where he said from 97, I'm thinking, to 1913, they were using tariffs, and it's like, and we had so much money, we didn't know what to do with it. We had to open up a whole new branch of government or
let's all just go back to the 1800s. Everybody.
And I thought it was poignant because I'll probably be bringing this up a few times for as long as we're talking about tariffs. I listened to an episode, one of my favorite podcasts is Part of the Problem with Dave Smith, libertarian, and he brought up the aspect of yes, but you're leaving out context, which is, what didn't we have at that time? We didn't have income tax, which is a big part of it, because once you start having all of this stuff, we didn't have the centralized bank, we didn't have the Fed.
You barely had global trade. In the way that we know it today.
But tariffs could in theory work. But if you're also combining them with income tax and the central bank, then you're just putting so much more onus on the taxpayer.
And just to dive in on that, once again, I'll do it from that perspective, as somebody that deals with it directly, right? It is a tax. A tariff is just that's the nice name that they're using right now for those who are pushing it. That's the name that they use instead of using a tax. But very much so, a tariff is a tax on everybody. And it's a blanket tax because everything that I bring in that people want, otherwise I wouldn't be selling it, everybody that I interact with besides the initial factory, everybody else is an American, right? And when the cost of the product doubles, I have to pass that on to some degree.
Yeah.
It's I'm not doing this podcast because I'm some fucking billionaire. It's we're all just everybody that I'm working with, that I'm getting by with, that I'm selling to is basically just a regular working class American. Though these hats are not cheap, so I hope that you people appreciate.
Yeah,
that.
you're really you're diming yourself out.
I
with
know,
that hat.
right? Yeah, especially with the Daniel Plainview angle in the truck. Yeah, we'll ignore that. But no, it's that it has to get passed on. Can Walmart eat it up for a little while? Yes, they can, because that's obviously
For a period of time.
Yeah, it's a multi
Longer than mom and pop
corporation.
can.
Yeah, but like I can't, or basically we've been getting, and also because there was no grace period with it, which the gist of that is just that it was stuff that I had already ordered that wasn't even here yet, but I paid for it. And the situation was just like, oh yeah, no, you owe it when you get here. So I've gotten.
So here's your VIG.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so like I've already paid for the goods. I paid all of the necessary things related to that. And then like UPS brings it to the doorstep. And then I get a bill from the federal government that's like, oh, by the way, you owe me $5,000. And that goes right into their pocket, right? But I have to pass on that $5,000 that I paid to the federal government to the other small businesses that I work with and to the consumers that I deal with
And it's not
directly.
instantaneous. All this stuff is ripples.
Yeah.
It continues
Exactly,
on for
yeah.
time.
It's gonna catch up in a few months. Like I know that it will, because that's a thing that I'm very much so dealing with right now.
How does that work if it doesn't get delivered? Do you still have to pay it then?
Of course you do. Yeah, of course you do.
Brought it in.
Yeah.
Well,
as far
if
as the
you-
government's concerned, you owe them that money. Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to have to deal with this a lot. Well, a lot of people get cigarettes from Europe, and they would be brought in. They would be brought in, essentially shipped in small batches illegally through the registered system, and people got wise to that about 10, 15 years ago, and then people started getting bills in the mail.
Right. Yeah. And you have to pay
For
it.
a lot of money, because a lot of people would buy massive amounts
Yeah.
of cigarettes from Hungary or
And then
wherever
sell
the
them
case.
here for.
Yeah. It's just a tax, and like all of the taxes that you face, you for the most part can't avoid them. But you're just paying it to the government, and that's what's so fucked up about it to me. It's that if your target is China in this case, so I won't even like defend the system and how they're better at this or better at that, and like we can't produce it. Even beyond that, okay, fine. Let's go with the argument that China's the villain here, or whoever's the villain. Every other country besides America is the villain. Okay, fine, but it shouldn't be regular people who have to pay that. And the fact that we're paying it to the people who decided that they're all the villains, and it goes right into their pockets, figuratively speaking, that's what's so egregious to me. Because it in no way, like if they took the tariffs, right, and then we're like, let's distribute it to all of the small businesses, or all of every American citizen, or however you want to do it, I might have a different feeling about it. At least I would have a different argument. But the truth of it is that it's just a tax. It's just a tax without calling it a tax, and it's a tax on everybody. And that's egregious to me in a country where there's so much, first of all, so much wealth in the first place, but that it's not equally distributed.
Yeah,
And
there's
yet
no
we all
accountability
have
as to
pay
where
this.
it's going. It's just a big sump lump of money
just
that
go- it
is
just
just
goes-
like, oh, government gets it.
Yeah,
and then where does it go and what does it do?
It goes to the federal government, and then they get to decide whether it be a Republican or a Democrat where that gets spent. And I don't know of a single American that trusts either party to handle the tax money that they get, the trillions of dollars that they receive, and to do what any of us think should be done with it.
Well, and what really should be done with it, the whole point of doing this would be to pay back the debt, because our debt is in the trillions. Our interest on the debt,
sweet summer child.
our,
I'm just riling you up.
the
there.
interest on our debt, I think, is either 1 or 2 trillion.
Yeah.
So even when we start to pay into the principal of our debt, we still are accruing
It's
the
the debt,
at least $1 trillion.
The amount of the debt payment
Yeah.
that the government has to
Yeah.
make every year is around 20% right now
Yeah.
of their gross income. So it's increasing, which is a thing that has been observed to happen in developed countries. So it's a very serious problem that no one will address.
Yeah. And that's, sorry, go ahead.
No. And just to kind of like round this out towards the end of this is like a lot of people don't even realize like you have bell peppers year round.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from the United
Yeah.
States. If like most of our construction lumber comes through Canada.
Yeah. For myself to wrap up on it,
Yeah.
it's that I do get the basically the America First argument. Let's put it that way. Right? And
absolutely.
I'm an American. Of course, I feel that way. At the same time, I do try to have like the humanist approach. Like I do get that everybody else in the world is a person too, and they need to make money and they need to eat. And I don't sit here, doing a podcast in America wearing a hat that probably cost me $30 for fun. and be like, man, those people in Thailand are really stealing from me because they're very poor. But I do get the argument as to, no country wants to be stolen from collectively. But I also don't like how our government under any presidency handles this type of thing. And in this case, the way in which this was, at the very least, rolled out is harmful towards small business owners, definitely, more so than it is towards Walmart. And eventually the consumer has to pay for it, which I'm one of those too. So it's
sad too, because it's like a nuclear bomb to small businesses.
Yeah.
And it just harkens back, because I brought up COVID before.
I agree with
And
you, yeah.
I remember my mom owns a small business. She was panicking because she thought during the lockdown she was going to lose her business because it was deemed non-essential.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you can really do about that.
Exactly,
And it's just, you're just in this state of, I did what I could to help her out during that time period. But for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of small businesses, they're going to, there's going to be a lot of economic pain.
Exactly.
And I've seen people on the right have little to no empathy for those people because they're looking big picture. And sure, if you want to look big picture, that's great.
Big picture's all well and good, but you understand the eggs that get cracked in the process. It's hard at a ground level.
I will say that again, like the anecdotal that I have, because I would normally, it's funny because we're actually approaching this from slightly different angles right now. So there's a little bit of a role reversal. When I go and chill at the bar and whatnot, and I'm hanging out with MAGA hat wearing people, I hear a lot of them right now where they're just like, they haven't changed that perspective in general, but they're just like, wow, this is really fucked up and it's hurting my business.
Yeah. Well, the difference is the people,
because when it hurts you in your pocket. You know?
The difference is the people that I'm hearing this from are millionaire podcasters, news people, this, that, and nature. It's not affecting them.
Right.
Because what tariff are you getting from doing a podcast other than these are all made in China?
Yeah.
So you feel no real pain.
Yeah.
But small business owners, people who work for small businesses, people who just blue-collar Americans will feel this.
Exactly.
Just wanting to build a house, wanting to do anything, you will feel this. And the only good that can come of it is that if tariffs are just wiped out.
Yeah.
But with China, who knows? And my big concern, and we don't have to delve into this now because it's too depressing to think of, when you have a tariff war with somebody, guess what's knocking on the door after that?
Yeah.
And no one, not China, not the United States, wants that to happen.
Exactly.
I'm against any sort of war. I'm against the war against fucking Iran.
Yeah.
I especially don't want to fight China.
Yeah.
So I think that's all. I'm hoping for the best, but as the Navy taught me, you also expect the worst.
Yeah.
All right.
Those penguins will pay up.
We didn't even talk about the tariffs on penguins.
All right. So before we wrap this up real quick, Pedro, I don't know if you have any kind of because you're still in the thick of this, do you have any kind of idea of what small businesses could do to kind of deal with this? Or is it just pucker your sphincter and brace for shock?
The short answer is pucker. And the reason for that is, without being too long-winded about it, it's that I've been trying to talk to the suppliers that I have overseas, and I'm talking to all of the American businesses that we talk to all the time. And it's people are asking me, I'm asking other people. And the reason that there's nothing that nobody knows what to do, because it's the tariffs are on, they're off, they're back, and they're twice as much as they were before, and now they're gone. So it's so unpredictable. And I was joking with a friend of mine today. I was like, this is probably the first time in as long as I can remember that I've agreed with billionaires that I see on the news. They're just I don't know what to do either. I'm like, oh my God, I agree with this guy. I hate myself. So yeah, I mean, really all that you can do is try and negotiate with whoever you're getting goods from, which, especially if you're going through I act as a middleman, so it's I'm trying to negotiate in both directions. But again, it comes back down to what can people afford, to stick with the beer koozie thing. What are you going to fucking spend for a beer koozie, Before I just stop selling them because nobody wants to buy them, I mean, it's easy enough to say oh yeah, just pass the cost on.
That's probably going to happen sooner, especially with the beer koozie, because everybody's going to switch to the bottle. It's just also getting kind of outrageous that you got to be drunk at now.
It's interesting because obviously you make your money off of type of stuff like that, but at what point does that become non-essential? So you either stop importing or
stop selling it altogether. Yeah.
The truth of it is that if all consumer goods go up the way that if all of these tariffs stay in place right now, let's say they don't increase, they just stay exactly where they are today, including the 90-day pause, right? if all of that happens, then your inflation is probably somewhere around like 20%, just across the board. Some things more than others, certainly. In which case, if that's what that is, then we all stop buying shit because we're all broke. You know, if you're broke now, you're more broke. If you're okay now, you're broke.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're upper middle class, you're pretty broke.
Yeah.
You know, and only people who we consider to be wealthy people can still afford things, and they'll still be hurting because the stock market,
Because there ain't going to be nobody to make it.
shit. Yeah. So, I mean, really, unfortunately, I think like unlike a lot of other times, like 2008 financial crisis, COVID, I don't think that there's really, it's policy based. You know, it's really that right now the government has the choice to do anything that they want, you know, that's a problem by itself. But if they continue on the path that they're on today, there's nothing you can do, which sucks.
They're going through IEPA right now because it's a national emergency declaration.
Right,
That's why. Because usually there's a whole process from Congress through
Yeah, should be.
and all this stuff like that. But through IEPA, you can just do it. And that's what's causing this whiplash situation right now that no one truly knows what to do with it.
Yeah, nobody knows what to do, and so really all that you can do is, and this is what you are seeing happening, like in the broader market, it's that businesses have just stopped spending any money because it's like maybe I just need to have a bunch of cash on hand, and like I'm looking at that, and like there was stuff that we were going to buy, like cool products that we designed, that like basically stuff that we've been working on for a long time, new designs, this, that, the other, and it's like we're just not going to buy them right now because the idea is like, what happens if like the spigot turns off and consumers don't have any money to buy anything, and our businesses can't buy anything, and then and we can't order anything new, then in that case, you just need money to pay your rent.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope that that's not the case because, I'm going to be eating it the same way as everybody else. But that's the danger that I think exists right now. And unlike I will say this, that it's unusual when you go to like the types of bars that I go to, and every single person sitting there, be it the MAGA hat person or the person who voted for Kamala or whatever, everybody agrees that this is fucking them. And that's my hope is that because that's such a universal feeling, that eventually does get up to the basically, obviously, all they really care about is, votes and money and power. But if it gets up to that level through the Congress, through whatever, just because they're aware there's a midterm election, that something changes with that. Not that we need to go and suck China's dick or something like that, but just let's figure out a system that doesn't fuck over everybody that lives here, But that said, I don't know. I'm doing everything that I can do, and I'll be honest that it feels very fruitless most days. That's why I've been drinking this whiskey for a hot minute today.
It's an effort to unify the nation.
That's right. Yeah.
If everybody hates something, we're all on the same page then.
Yeah, I think I need a drink.
As you wear a top hat.
Oh, I didn't say I was involved in this. This is for Val.
So from one piece of depressing news to, I guess this is less depressing?
Somehow, some way.
So we did an episode recently about the passing of Mr. Gene Hackman, and just a month later, Val Kilmer passed away, and I figured we can talk a little bit about that.
We should have done that Deadpool thing.
The death pool. Yeah.
Yeah, we could have done that, but
keep
also
saying Deadpool. I'm like, why are we
Yeah, it's a Deadpool.
Well, it is called a Deadpool.
Yeah.
The issue,
Yeah, not
though,
the movie, the character. Just who's going to go first?
Listen, we already have an image problem. People don't like us. They're always roasting us in the comments.
Oh, fuck them. Look at my top hat. You think I care about them?
Oh yeah, no, you're just.
It's ill-fitting, and I'm drunk. Fuck them.
Yeah, you're living it up, man. You are my friend. You are my friend. A spirit animal.
I am. Cheers to you. I forgot your name, but I love you.
So I think now is a good time to kind of relive some of Val Kilmer's best work. I love his work in Tombstone. I think that is.
I think that's kind of universal. He is
A tour de force.
doing God's work in that fucking movie. Like, truly. He's got a lot of other great movies, but that one is like the Mount Olympus.
That's his best film by far.
Yeah.
Not only is it like the best movie that he was in, you can correct me if you want. I think it's the best movie that he was in, but I also think that he was so quintessential in it being great.
Yes.
That's true, yeah.
I think he really upped his game in that, because you see a lot of Val Kilmer movies and you're like, He's all right.
Yeah.
This one, he steals the show, and I love Kurt Russell. I love
Yeah.
his roles. He is a great
Yeah.
actor.
Everyone loves
Everybody in that movie was like kind of a tier above him as far as acting goes, but he stole it from all of them.
That was him hitting an absolute
Perfect
peak.
storm.
Grand slam right out of the park. Like there was no question. They're like, okay, we're going to stop playing this game.
Yeah, It's like there's really nothing else we can go in. You should just go and watch Tombstone.
Yeah, if you have, oh my goodness.
No, it's quoted left and right, correctly, incorrectly. It's just fucking great.
So.
How many times have you heard the Huckleberry fucking
Nah.
line? Miss it.
Oh, it was just recently. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't make any fucking
You and I
sense.
had that conversation. We were designing that one product, which was your idea, and we got into a debate about that because it's Huckleberry.
Yeah, what the proper term is, but he was so drunk when he was saying it, whether he was acting drunk or just being drunk. Like Doc Holliday was drunk in that scene.
Yeah.
It's also hard to tell with that accent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But moving on, yes.
Yes.
Great. Great.
So, in the spirit of Val Kilmer's passing, I had a buddy in the Navy. He had a proverbial hot take, which was Val Kilmer. Now, this is back when I was in the service, was 20 years ago.
Right.
So there was like Batman Begins was a new movie. There was no Justice League, so there was no Ben Affleck
Right,
Batman.
right. Yeah, no,
there was no Robert Pattinson, the Batman. You were down to
It was Adam West,
Adam
Michael
West.
Keaton, and George Clooney.
George
I think
Clooney.
for the most part were the Batmans of the time.
Yeah. And my buddy, his name is Ayub. Good luck finding him.
Yeah, I don't even know what you said.
His hot take is that Val Kilmer, I don't know if he's changed his take since then with Christian Bale and the other ones I mentioned. Val Kilmer is the best Batman.
I would say no, just because Michael Keaton is in that, and like I'll exclude the Christian Bale and
Whatever.
and fucking and whatever.
Robert
but
Pattinson.
no, that's not even who I was thinking of. I was thinking Phantoms.
Yeah.
He's bombing Phantoms.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Keaton is the best Batman,
I
and that like Val Kilmer wasn't bad. He was better than Clooney.
He was outshone in a weird, bombastically toned movie.
Yeah, that was the one with what Riddler as
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey as Riddler, and for whatever reason, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
It's such a weird. So, like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
You also have Drew Barrymore as a side character in that for like a couple of scenes, and she's a fucking star.
the movie was weird. I mean, let's like.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird
like,
movie.
I don't want to. I didn't hate the film. I didn't hate the film, and I didn't hate
I
Val
don't even
Kilmer as
think he
Batman.
was a bad Batman.
No.
It has
It's
the
just
best
movie
soundtrack for
itself
Batman.
Does not serve him as Batman.
He's outshone, as you were saying,
Yeah.
by Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. That's what he was.
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
and, like he will be in his grave, and he'll still be like doing high kicks and just be like, "Lah."
Yeah, him and
then,
Johnny Depp.
And then Tommy Lee Jones
Tried
like,
to be Jim Carrey.
trying to be Jim Carrey. You had two Jim Carreys. That makes no sense. Tommy Lee Jones should have just been Tommy Lee Jones, and then that way, at least Val Kilmer's acting could have at least.
They should have had him do more of the fucking the DA instead of him being like I think he was like a ring bearer or something, like
It made no sense. I will say this, that in the lead up to this, because I knew that we were going to talk about Val Kilmer, as we should, but I read a little bit about his commentary on playing that role. And basically, he was negative on it without bitching, but he more or less described it within the context of that, because obviously he was very
Tommy
big
Lee
on his
Jones
acting,
did enough of that.
And so Val Kilmer basically described it as like he's like Juilliard, and he's like he's a method actor and this and that. And so he went into it like wanting, I don't know what he thought he was going to do, but he like wanted to like play this in some great way. And the costume was so suffocating that he described it, and it's like it's not an exact quote, but he was like, it took me a long time to realize that they just wanted me to pose in the scenes.
That's but
Because he like couldn't move.
But Keaton had that issue too when they were doing it,
Yeah.
and like those were two totally different direct, like a Joel Schumacher movie. Like Jesus Christ,
like
it might as well be Michael Bay.
The Keaton ones were like 89 and like 90 or 91,
Yes.
something like
Keaton
that.
was 89 and
the other
91.
one was like 95 somewhere
Sounds
around
right.
there.
Nine-
Mid-90s
yeah.
sometime. It's like I said, like when I think back on that movie, unfortunately, I just even watching it as like a young, well, I guess practically a teenager at that point, but like I just remember the bombacity of the villains.
It
in that
was
movie.
bright. It was very neon, glow light, black light kind of centric, and just extreme. It was a little bit of In Living Color, a little bit of the hell was that movie that Tommy Lee Jones was in? Because that's kind of a bit of his acting was that. I can't.
Clooney's Batman was even worse, though.
Well,
Yeah, but that was just terrible on every end. There's nothing good about that.
More and more bombastic. You're coming from like the Keaton era of more
Tim Burton.
more serious.
Tim Burton, where it was
Burton,
just like it was more gothic than any.
Darker.
Yeah,
with like a deliberate tone.
yeah.
Then the Kilmer movie, I just found so tonally weird.
Different from what like its predecessor was, and for it to be in the same universe and telling like a continuation of the story of Batman, essentially.
It's like the Keaton movies, the Tim Burton movies are kind of like they're an adult, and the George Clooney movie is like a child,
right?
And Forever is just this weird teenager stage. It doesn't know
it's
what
the
it is.
emo
Doesn't know what
phase
it
where
wants to
there's
be.
just like
its voice is
black
cracking.
eyeliner, hair over the eyes. Like, what are we doing here? Like, come on,
It's not. Yeah, I would watch Forever
wearing jeans
twice
to the beach.
I would watch Forever twice before I would watch Batman and Robin again.
Sure.
Just because it was just like it seems like it's a better movie. The only reason I watch Batman and Robin is for Arnold Schwarzenegger's quips.
Yeah, well, that's really all. Yeah,
and then that gets old quick.
Does it though?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's got like 4 fucking lines, and they're all about ice, and he says like 2 of them twice.
Of course they're about ice. What do you want them to be about?
Well, he says 2 of them twice. Like, come on,
Chill out.
get the fuck out of here.
So I did a Batman ranking, which I caught a lot of shit for, but yet somehow all of you guys got roped into it, as if we all have the same voice. So I had Kilmer, if I can remember that correctly, like right there in the middle. I think he was third. Because
we were playing with all of them too. Like, I don't even was Patterson.
he was in last, and that's what a lot of people were upset about.
Oh,
They were like,
we gave him shit?
I fell asleep during the movie. It was boring. Like, I'm sorry you didn't draw me into your fantasy world.
We're talking about the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Man, that fucking Riddler didn't make any goddamn sense anyway.
And then, like,
Paul Dano.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
That's not. That's a
Don't get in
different
the weeds.
thing.
We're honoring Val Kilmer right now, guys.
yeah. So, like, yeah, Kilmer, I would say definitely above Affleck, definitely above.
Well, because he's still
Affleck was
the
fine, and I
Affleck
hate
thing,
him.
whatever. Like, I don't even know how I feel about it, but I don't even hold it in the same type of like paradigm.
Yeah.
It wasn't his own movie, so it's kind of hard to judge Affleck in it.
Yeah.
But of like that era, starting with Keaton, like I think when I think back on it, like there was nothing offensive about the way Val Kilmer played Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
No.
It's just that the vehicle didn't serve him.
He was an okay Batman, and he was a better Bruce Wayne.
Well, yeah, I was gonna
And that's kind of where it was, where Clooney was kind of a shitty Batman and a shitty Bruce Wayne. Keaton was a good Batman and a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And like, he was just consistent across the board.
Val Kilmer strikes me as, for the most part, at least within that role, he was like a little bit too pretty to do that. I'm still
For
seeing
Bruce Wayne, I could see him being pretty because
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
the character's supposed to be preserved from everything, even though he's fighting crime every
as
goddamn
Bruce
night.
Wayne, pretty's great because obviously you're talking about playing 2 different characters.
Yeah.
which
He was also like he was also kind of blondish.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
threw me
that was a
off.
little weird.
Yeah. But whatever. Continue on.
But him as
Yeah.
I never pictured Val Kilmer in any way as being a tough person. No offense, but like that, I mean, Batman. All he's doing is running around beating the shit out of criminals. You think, and like I also didn't like
He
Christian
didn't
Bale.
do the
There's no
brooding thing particularly well. He didn't
Yeah.
hold that type of like brooding just atmosphere around him. He's Val Kilmer.
He's Val Kilmer. He's great at what he does.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the best role. Yeah.
incredibly handsome.
Yeah.
He's got a
Good looking
level of charm about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, was very distinct.
Yeah, he's typically smarmy in any of his other roles, like fucking Doc Holliday or the fucking door. What the hell's his name? John Morrison? Jim Morrison?
In the Doors,
yeah,
in the
that's
Doors,
yeah.
Like, he did that well for as much as I know about Jim Morrison's life.
I was gonna say something similar. I
I
liked
was
him in the
gonna
movie
bring
Heat.
Oh, like he.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
let's get
good.
into some of the other roles.
Yeah.
We'll circle around this Batman thing.
I love
forever.
I just heard this fact today. going to work that he was in the movie MacGruber.
Yes.
And him and the star Will Forte, they became like immediate friends.
Like best friends.
And they're like right after that movie ended filming, they like this is before he got sick and
the throat cancer stuff.
they were planning on they wanted to go on The Amazing Race together. And both of their managers separately said, no, this would be bad for your image. And like then like it never happened. And then Val Kilmer got sick, but apparently when it was discussed, like it was brought up in some kind of interview where he can like while he was still kind of able to talk, it was like I wanted to fire my manager and like then Will Forte was just to do it. Like it wasn't like how is it going to hurt your image because it's a reality show and who gives a shit? And two, like they wanted to do it just for the fucking fun of it. Yeah. And that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's one of those things with being a celebrity, I suppose, if you're not able to step away from it.
Yeah.
He took it very seriously, which is a compliment.
Well, yeah, he was a serious actor, but it's just like he also wanted to do this, like, not that The Amazing Race is an easy task to do, just what they make you do.
He wanted to be himself.
He just wanted to have fun with his fucking friend and go dick around like fucking the 7 continents.
Yeah. But then his manager wouldn't make money.
Yeah. Well, that might have been, I don't know. He probably would have made money anyway.
No.
It would have been one of the highest rated Amazing Races if you saw Will Forte and Will Forte from The Last Man on Earth.
And then The Boy Genius, is that what it's called?
And MacGruber. Oh, no.
Well, let's go back to like old Val Kilmer stuff.
That's Real Genius.
Real Genius.
Real Genius.
Real Genius.
Oh, I said Boy Genius.
Yeah. Real Genius.
By my own petard.
Like the 80s movies. Very good. Like he does have a very distinct type of charm to him.
Yeah.
It does.
And very good. Real Genius. Very funny movie.
He seems like what Ryan Reynolds tries to be.
In some ways, sure.
I could see it a little bit. I mean, I would put it this way. It's like, and I say this with all due respect to the dad, like if he was sitting next to me at the bar and I didn't know he was Val Kilmer, I wouldn't want to continue the conversation with him, but I think he would charm me into it.
Geez.
And I think I would enjoy it.
Have you ever seen him in The Saint?
Oh, my God.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's another one of my
The
favorite
Saint
movies.
is such a ridiculous film. I don't know how it's so highly rated. I've watched it many times.
But you've watched it, so how do you not get that?
I saw it on old HBO.
I used to have it on cassette and DVD.
It's a lot of Kilmer-esque.
Yeah.
A lot of Kilmer.
How
It
do
was
you
a
know?
showcase for Kilmer.
Where does the Kilmer start and the Saint begin? He's always changing up his disguises and shit. I think
Those disguises are such bullshit. It's like literally a fake.
the whole plot line of the story is
Literally Val
bullshit.
Kilmer. It's amazing how that movie works. Just the ability for disbelief to suspend it is incredible.
Right. And obviously, like his supporting role in Top Gun.
Yes, I was going to bring up Top Gun.
Yeah.
And he
didn't wanna do
reprised it
He did.
a bit, and as best he could.
I wanted to bring that up too because I'm not. I'm pretty sure it was his last role. But they did that.
Presumably, yeah.
They did that so respectfully to his character
Yeah.
too, because he's Iceman. I think I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
And so in Maverick, obviously, Tom Cruise's character Maverick is like, in some sort of like crossroads, as most heroes in most movies are.
It's the Scientology of it.
Like, yes, there you go. Good joke. So he goes to because Iceman actually ranked up. And his issue was that he was just staying as I think a captain.
I think so, yeah.
Because if he ranked to admiral, then he couldn't fly
couldn't
anymore,
fly
and he
anymore,
didn't
yeah.
want to do that. Yeah. So he went to Val Kilmer for advice. And Val Kilmer, having the throat problem that eventually claimed him, they did it so respectfully, where it's just he goes to him for advice, and since he can't speak, he would just type out the words, and that's supposed to be the message. And rather than it just being this long drawn out thing, you just have a little zoom in of what he says, and then the specific thing that Tom Cruise is supposed to take away. And he's listening and he's just nodding and all that stuff, and he just types out the thing. And it's wow, he actually played a role in it, and then kind of calling their shot because they knew what was going to happen with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
They kill him off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two movies that I completely forgot about.
Oh, he found IMDb. Here we go.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
one Thunderheart.
Thunderheart, yeah.
He's I believe he's on a Native American
Awesome already.
reserve, and he's a lawyer or something to that
Something
effect.
I vaguely remember it.
Is he an FBI agent?
Maybe he's an FBI
Yeah,
agent or something like
along
that.
those lines.
And also Mad Mardigan. Willow.
I was about about to say if you didn't say it. Like,
I forgot. Yeah. And
He is Man
fuck
Martin.
yeah, Willow.
Forgot about that. Only my brother were here.
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie. I wish I didn't remember. The Island of Dr. Moreau with
Oh my God!
Marlon Brando
I
and
dove into this the other day. Dove into it.
my condolences.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's rough.
Wow.
It's rough.
Wow.
It's like David Lynch wishes he could do that.
Didn't they also
That's funnier than you think it is.
bring Kilmer in to play Blunt Man at the end of
Jane Silent Bob.
Kevin Smith, whatever. Jane
Did
Silent.
they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that I'll have to look up. I don't.
You've got it. in front of
Seeing
you.
that, yeah. Well, he's got a lot.
I'm fairly certain, at least to some degree. Maybe not that movie, but he did something.
The Island of Dr.
It was when he was
Moreau
sick. I know it was because he was all bloated to hell.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
This was a game that you and I used to play on PlayStation 2, Pedro. 13. I think he was in. I don't think he was in the video game. I think he might have just been. He might have been in the video game. I'm not certain, but I think he was in the TV adaptation of that.
That might be the case because I believe the video game was narrated by.
Is that him?
Yeah.
They're the ones looking things up
X-Files.
When he was
too. Oh, David Duchovny.
David Duchovny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in True Romance too. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, he played Elvis. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm so
right.
upset that I didn't bring that up immediately.
Oh,
Oh man.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Spot.
And that's like it's like barely a role in that, which not for nothing.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was kind of in a small role, other than Arquette and
He like kills it.
fucking what's her name?
Patricia Arquette. Yeah.
Oh.
That's
and then
all I
of
got
course
for
the
him.
Doors.
I'm waiting on Moses because.
Well, there's other
scrolling
Kiss Kiss
now.
Bang Bang.
Oh, yeah, Kiss Kiss
The
Bang
Ghost in
Bang,
the Darkness,
sure.
if you remember that
yep.
with
I
Michael
of
Douglas.
course remember that. Yeah. Jill put that on one day and was like, "This is a great movie," and then it was just like a depressing movie.
Well, yeah, it is a depressing
Lions or
movie, but it's still a good
something.
movie.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. But,
It's not a bad movie. It is a rough movie.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I watched.
in several ways.
He played John Holmes in Wonderland.
Oh yeah,
You're right.
That's actually
That's a good movie too.
that movie is deeply overshadowed by Boogie Nights,
Yes.
starring
yes.
Marky
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
But Wonderland is a pretty excellent telling story of John Holmes.
Yeah.
I will give him
Yeah.
that. He played it creepily well.
He-
there was
yeah.
that Juilliard shit.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like it's uncomfortable for me to watch that.
Well, he
Boogie
was-
Nights has got so many great people in it. Like you can have a good time, have some drinks.
He was
Whereas
already
Wonderland is just
fucking-
depressing
I mean,
as
the reality of that
John
guy,
Holmes, yeah,
John
terrible.
Holmes is bananas to
Oh, yeah.
begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot that. Good call on that one because I totally forgot about that.
You
movie.
remember Red Planet?
Yeah. Well.
That was a movie.
I competed with. I think the name of the movie was just Mars.
Mission to
Mars.
Mars.
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars, I think. Yeah.
That
There
was,
was a
Gary
handful of
Sinise.
Mars movies. Yes.
Mission to Mars was Gary
Sinise.
Sinise.
Yep.
I
Yep.
remember watching that movie, unfortunately. Gary Sinise, great guy with veterans. Some of those roles, not good. I remember Snake Eyes.
Good film.
I gotta
That's all
look
I
this up. I have Knight Rider here. And it's 2008, I guess. They made a movie of
They
it.
made
They
several,
remade
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And apparently he was in that.
He was.
Let's not talk about it.
He was in a movie, I believe, that was called Gun or something like that with 50 Cent. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not. I know I'm not making it up.
There was something here that seems like it might have been.
I know that you and I watched it together. We were wasted drunk, and
There was an era of movies with rappers, so like Cradle to the Grave. And
yeah,
like,
it was like along that same vein. I know that you and I, Mose, we were wasted drunk, and we found this film, and we're just like,
Oh,
let's
it's
put
just Gun.
it- just Gun.
Just
yeah.
Gun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's him and 50 Cent, right?
Yeah, that's 50 Cent.
There you go. It is a terrible film. Terrible film.
Is Curtis Jackson in
Curtis
Jackson. Flesh. And Bullets.
Yeah.
All right.
He's made mostly
Even
bullets.
Val Kilmer couldn't save that one.
All right,
Sorry,
guys. We've talked about some heavy stuff. We had a little fun exploring the career of Val Kilmer a little bit. But I think we should...
Cheers to Val.
Yep. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
R.I.P.
Solange.
I think it's time that we end this podcast on something of a high note.
I'm excited.
So we have been getting more comments.
Oh boy.
And I figure that we'll explore some comments that absolutely roast us. And but let's start with something complimentary. So, on Instagram, Melly Suggs writes in, the boy with the glasses and bitchin' beard, not the garden gnome guy,
Oh, that's you.
Sorry.
Wow.
should lose the hat. Not because it sucks, but because the tattoo it covers, heart emoji.
What tattoo is it covering? Oh, your screw?
What's her name?
Melly Suggs.
Thank you so much. What is it, Melly?
Melly Suggs.
Melly? All right, we're going with it. Thank you so much. That is lovely. I will lose the hat for the rest of this podcast. Just like that.
Just for you.
Yep.
So let's get the last complimentary one for you, Pedro, out of the way.
Oh.
I suspect that this is your mom, although it's made.
I don't think that she knows how to use the internet, if we're being honest.
Well, I'm also saying this, facetiously because the username is Maiden Kinks 1.
Okay. Wow. Yes. That might be her, actually. I take that back. Yeah. I try not to question what she does in her free time.
Let Pedro wear his glasses in peace. He's a gorgeous man and pulls it off. Wink emoji. Serious question. Is he seeing anyone?
Oh, wow. That's quite flattering. Yeah, I love that. Not yet, but that could change in an instant on the internet.
All right, guys. It's time to brace for shock.
Oh, you doing it? Sorry, I'm a little slow on the draw.
No worries.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
We all got
We'll
them now.
save some of the complimentary ones for last. We'll do a nice compliment sandwich.
Oh, I've heard of these.
All right. So that one was from YouTube, by the way. So this next one is from YouTube from our episode Poor Decisions. So this is F1000 TAC W2S. Don't know what your name is. That was your username.
Yeah.
So you have 2 comments on here, and I'm not. First of all, I love the comment, by the way. So let's just roll into it. Wow, incredible. Not sure about that old dude with the glasses. Looks like he is full of hate and an alcoholic.
It's called loud and drunk.
And also the follow-up, and the guy next to him reminds me of a homeless Andrew Tate.
Wow.
And so why I love this comment so much, and thank you so much for writing this, it made my day, because
Makes my day go a little bit.
I would be the old man with full of hate, typically.
that was the episode that
Typically.
we had Ed. So the one shot that we had was Ed and Pedro.
Yep.
And so I am assuming that Ed is the one that's an alcoholic and full of hate.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that you are homeless Andrew Tate.
Ed does have a resting bitch face.
I am a home. Now, who is Andrew Tate?
Ooh, how do
We discussed this when we went inside to look for
My
these.
brother mentioned this comment to me previously, and I.
The best way I can phrase it is that he's piece of shit Jordan Peterson.
Okay, all right. That's not good for me, but let's roll.
I'm going to need a little more on that after the. Like, I
What
don't
does
know
he
who that
look
is.
like? Does he look like me?
He sounds white as fuck.
Yeah.
he-
Is he a white man?
No?
He does not appear to be a white.
He is not like pasty
some-
white like us. He's
He's some
definitely
sort of a brown man like me, where he's like mixed.
Oh,
to some
okay.
degree.
All right.
His whole thing is like, just treat women like shit.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Make sure
and
you beat
also
him every day.
he got like involved in some.
Wow.
It sucks for me.
He got in some. Sort
Yeah,
of
but your
shit,
tattoo is stellar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, thank you.
Possible
Like sex
troubles with
trafficking.
sex trafficking somewhere.
Oh, it got real.
in
It
Europe.
wasn't just he beat like
And
his
then
starlet girlfriend.
Got
He
released to
was
some shit in
trafficking
Florida
women.
and then arrested there.
And like there was like Romania was involved.
Romania, that's what it was. Romania.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
I do not support that.
This is very Vandersloody.
Yes, that's why I say piece of shit Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson, good advice. Andrew Tate,
Yeah. It's not a good look for me. Not a good look.
yeah.
Maybe put the hat back on.
All right. You know
But
what?
he's also fond of
wear it
sunglasses
backwards.
too, though. So it's like an aesthetic thing.
I'll take that. I got to look this guy up now.
All
Is
right.
he handsome, Dan? In your opinion,
What's that?
is Andrew Tate an attractive man?
I don't find men attractive.
All right. Well,
if
we'll
you
talk
did?
about it later. I guess.
Some men.
Oh, hot
He
damn.
likes my tattoo.
And now it's loud and drunk after dark. Dear Diary.
All right, let's get to the next comment. This is
Giggity.
from Jack Burton's Reflexes. And
I like that.
I know who you are.
That's a good name.
What a terrible day to have eyes and ears.
Wow. That's
Well, then we'll send you the the transcript of this in Braille, so we could offend more of your senses.
Also, too, Moses, don't you have an eye and ear emporium where you can just like sell this stuff? We can take your eyes for you.
It's just synesthesia. I get those mixed up.
All right, let's get to some of the ones where I'm pretty sure we don't know these people. Fart particles.
Oh, fart particles.
Good
great.
name.
Love it.
Good name. I don't think any of them understand how a mic works.
Fair.
What's
True of me.
I'm still waiting on a call back from Mike. Honestly, because I need to know what he's doing so I can.
Oh, Mika.
Mika, yeah.
Yeah. I love him.
Mika,
Where is he
I don't know. Mika's so horny.
Is that what he means?
Isn't
That
it
we don't
the-
understand how Mika
Well,
works?
I'm also curious.
He's a troubled man. It's
Is it
difficult.
Mike or is it Mick?
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
I'm a Mick,
Yeah.
and I find that very racist.
But maybe it's Mick Foley, and he's probably, recovering.
Did they think that one of us was McFoley?
Wow, are they going back to that old movie Euro Trip?
I could,
Mike
yeah.
Mika joke? Wow.
Oh, shit.
This is deep.
Well, either way, it's racist.
R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg.
Dan, you should
I don't
report
know.
that comment.
Scusi.
Scotty doesn't know.
Scusi.
All right.
Nicht eine Berlin. Sorry, I'm getting in the weeds now.
So,
It's a shame Val Kilmer wasn't in that movie.
I just love this. This is from one of the. So I've been clipping a lot of our prior episodes and putting them up as individual
Clip
little
away,
shorter
Uncle Dan.
videos.
Clip away.
So from awakening_Brian, and it's just WTF is this?
I get a lot of these emails, honestly, that are just like WTF. That's it. I don't know what they want.
I don't know how to answer that.
Like,
It is a
little
this is-
context.
well, it's a show with cameras and mics. We're
Wait,
friends. And
we
just
have mics now? We already told that other guy we don't.
Well, it's also a mic.
Yeah, it was,
Oh, it was a
it's a
mic.
mech.
Oh.
Yeah, we have mechs here.
Wait,
Yeah.
but we don't have
The two
mics.
of them.
Now I'm
No mics, all
confused.
mix.
Oh, no
Oh,
mix.
is it-
They're both mechs.
All right.
They're both. I don't know what the fuck you are. You're wearing a top hat.
No, it's
I'm more of a common man.
I'm all about that treble.
Is it too late to rename the podcast to No Mics All Mix?
Two mix and a mic?
It's not too late
Not
for
too
anyone.
late. Not too late. I encourage it.
All right. Let's get into one that did not care for our opinions on crypto. This is from limited edition music, but you're missing an eye. You're the first eye in limited. Nah, this is all biased, ignorant opinions backed by 0 hours of researching and understanding.
Yes, and yes.
Yes, I did.
Allowed in
I personally did the 0 hours of research.
Learn the infrastructure of the internet, then learn compute. I am not fucking that up. It says then learn compute.
Icon has cheeseburger, right?
Understand cryptography?
Wow. Okay.
So it's a national treasure.
Let's get in the cake.
Dan Brown kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the hat's coming off.
People are into. We're on the
Yeah.
same page now. Yeah.
Yep, that was a switch.
Then maybe you might understand Bitcoin. Limited edition music. I think we were upfront that we didn't understand Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I understand that you're just getting a short 8-minute clip, but yeah, we're pretty goddamn
they
ignorant
could
when it
come
comes
and
to
be
crypto.
on the podcast and
What
educate
the
us.
hell is limited edition music, though? Like, is it?
You know what it
It's
is.
just music, or it's not, isn't it? Like, there's no there's not limited edition. Like, I can only hear this song once, and then that's
It's
it.
like Bitcoin though. You're not getting it.
No, because I'm going to do
so
zero
much.
research into this.
It goes up, it goes down. Sometimes it's not around.
Yeah,
anymore.
so does my dick.
Okay.
Goes up, it goes down. Sometimes it's not
All right,
around. I don't know.
Moving on.
Whatever.
So this is from It's Steve 6018. All three of you.
Wow.
Okay, there's 4 of us.
4 people here.
All 3 of you are extremely ignorant on how Bitcoin works. Mining is just a method to secure the network. It gained value when someone was willing to trade 10,000 Bitcoins for a pizza years ago. This is so long.
Oh my God.
This initial
Did you
market
write
price. What?
Yes, if Pedro wrote it.
He would have just said this on the podcast.
I would have.
This set the initial market price, and it evolved from that point. The reason that the USD isn't volatile isn't because it's backed by the government, but because it has an astronomically huge market cap
God,
of
I'm
people
so
valuing.
bored.
Yeah, I thought we were boring. Jesus fucking Christ.
I just have one question. What?
There's more.
WTF?
WTF?
Are we passing?
See fart sparkles.
Are we passing on the rest of it?
I'm
don't-
kind of over the rest of his statement.
Yeah. Are there any other highlights?
Limited edition music responded to this. I second this. These guys no all caps.
Wow.
No.
Nothing about the underlying technology. It should be no all lowercase, nothing all caps. We know.
Oh, so we do know.
It's all it's wherever you put the emphasis. There.
Yeah.
It's on the right syllable.
The one thing that got me through all of those comments was, all right, the sunglasses starting to impact me. I don't know what your username is. It's CXLEWRXLD.
Well, I've just been triggered.
Yes.
My Winter Soldier programming is come to back.
Great video.
Thank you.
Nice.
Well, finally, somebody intelligent.
All right, so let's get to some of these tipping ones.
Sure.
So for the clip that was who are you supposed to tip? Militant Hitchhiker, which is a good username. I will give you credit
I
for that.
like that a lot.
wouldn't
Is that a
pick him
Rambo
up, though.
reference?
Is it that, or is it the guy that hatcheted people to death?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're both great.
Writes, nobody. That was easy. How does the richest country in the world not know how to pay a wage?
Is it, what?
That's incredibly simplistic.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
It's
really
a little bit more
understand what that
complicated than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think that any of us advocated against them.
Yeah. I don't think they're watching the video. I think
Probably
they're
a
just,
European.
No.
The worst.
So, Mr. What the hell is this?
Mr.
Mixoplick?
Meeseeks?
No, it is Mr. Meldoronix?
Meldoronics.
Oh,
All
Meldoron.
right.
Hard to say, but I like it.
Tips are a cancer inflicted on the world by the USA.
Wow.
Interesting.
How is it
It's a bold
inflicted on
move,
the?
Cotton.
How does the world? What does the world care about that? We don't
They
tip
had
them.
all sorts of opinions on it.
I don't know. I guess I just don't get it.
Yes. All right. Who is this? Doggies are our friends.
Agreed.
723.
Yeah.
Doggies are our friends.
Yes.
These are our friends.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, they're right.
If I'm poor and want to dine out once every year, I shouldn't because I can't afford to tip 20%. Sucks to be me.
Yeah, it does suck to be you.
You know what? You can
Like,
come
I'm
over to my
sorry.
house and I'll cook for you.
Yeah, like I'll make you a meal, but yeah, if you go out, then like the other
I'll
person
make
has
you an
to eat
edible
too.
meal.
Yeah.
How do you have internet?
Yeah. You got time to you got time to leave tips on the fucking comments
You
section?
assholes.
You don't got time to leave fucking people tips at the
What, you assholes don't know about the what is it? The book superstore? The
Oh, the library?
yeah, that's it. Yes.
Ban mandatory tipping. Bring normal wages and reinstall the concept of tips, all caps, to ensure, don't know why there was a period in there, to ensure productive service. And there's some weird.
I feel like that's detrimental to like. You should tip people like even if everybody got the same wage straight across the board for whatever you're doing, and you tip for like kind of better or faster service. It's kind of like
Well, first of all, we already did this, so we don't need to revisit it. I didn't even follow what they were saying that they
I
shouldn't
got
have
lost
to.
halfway through, and that's why I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
no.
they
I
shouldn't
wrote
have
this
to
one,
tip.
so that's why I know.
Oh, thank you.
These are all.
Moving on. So this is from Bon Thief. Because it's spelled like, remember that meme, Kofif?
Uh-huh.
When they didn't know how to,
Kofefe?
yeah, they couldn't, they didn't know how to spell coffee.
Guy's got his finger on the pulse.
You guys tipping fast food workers too? Where's my tip for leaving this comment? American culture is insane.
We're sending it in
LMAO.
Bitcoin.
No.
This is your tip.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like we did acknowledge that fast food workers are not tipped, and that's like an unfair dichotomy.
I do sometimes tip them.
This is the issue
which is fair, yeah.
with them commenting on just short clips.
Yeah.
Where that
they're not
point is
getting
not
full
necessarily
context.
in it.
Oh, I say. So they're just stupid.
We're also just learning how internet works.
Can we give that guy a tip?
Yeah, we don't know how mics work or mix work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which was
I know how mix works.
Yeah, they don't.
I've seen the railroad.
They straight up don't.
It's okay. It's not
All right.
great.
That was all thanks to China. Shut up.
that was an import from China. do those get tariffed too?
Yeah, retroactively.
I got to look at the fine details. We'll get to it later.
All right. Again. Savage RC 5752 writes, no tip ever.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Why?
That's what they're saying. That they
What's wrong with you, Mr. Pink?
That's it? No tip ever?
They just
Yeah.
won't let-
Yeah, at least they're quick about
That's
it.
douchey.
I do want to acknowledge this one. This isn't a roast, but we have one of our followers, Bleed Eagles Green, for my Jesse Ventura clip.
Fly Eagles Fly. I get it.
Yeah.
He did this whole thing, and I want to acknowledge some of the points.
Okay.
So one of the point was he lost respect for Jesse Ventura because of the Chris Kyle lawsuit.
Sure.
Chris Kyle was obviously killed.
Yeah.
He was trying to help a fellow vet, and then the vet was kind of like not in the right headspace. The wrong thing to do was to take him to the gun range and put a gun in his hand.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that guy
fair.
ended up shooting Chris Kyle and killing him, and I think he killed another gentleman. I think he was a Marine.
I believe so. I don't fully remember.
Mistakes
though.
were made,
Yes.
basically.
And he might have killed himself too. I
Don't remember.
I don't remember that.
I
So,
love how this gets
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
but, so
God damn.
Jesse Ventura continued the lawsuit after
Yes.
that because the lawsuit transfers over to the estate, and the estate was carried
his
over by the
wife
wife.
and-
And
yeah.
so
That's not a good look.
so the look of it is that he's suing a widow,
Yeah.
Right.
despite the fact that
The optics were terrible.
despite the fact that he was defamed.
Yeah.
So I understand why that is a bad look and why you would like the person.
Yeah.
And then Bleed Eagles Green also continued on with him supporting Kamala Harris when he was a guy that
Yeah.
was
Right. Yeah.
That's fair,
both
yeah.
parties are bad. And
Yeah.
his reasoning for supporting Kamala Harris was because he's old, he's likely to die soon, and he would like to see a female president, which is
It's kind of
fair.
stupid.
It's fair. answer.
That's kinda stupid.
It is. I think that's a bad reason to support someone in general.
I'm going to disagree then, just really quick, and say that people routinely vote off of things that are relevant to them. At least that person thought about it through and through and said, just on that baseline, if that's all that we go by, then that's a better reason than a lot of people vote for a lot of other people. I'll accept that.
Except it steps on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
talked about
it's kind of
prior.
changing up your
that's
whole fucking personality, whatever
We're
you're
all
selling, and
hypocrites.
We're all hypocrites.
that's fair.
But at the end of the day, he made money by speaking on this platform and by speaking in those terms, and then he just eroded all of that after the fact, and he became a shell.
Yeah,
So that's why
He learned it from
You
Vince.
can support who you want, and if you're going to be like, oh, well, I don't like the Republicans because of the Chris Kyle thing, I completely get it because they were venomous during that whole fucking
Yeah.
thing. However, please don't forget that the Democrats were equally as venomous to you when you were running for governor in 1998.
well, so you shouldn't vote just because somebody looks like something. Like,
Yeah.
fucking just fucking throw Alf in there and be like, oh, make him the next president. Like, just because he's a fucking alien. Like,
I
what the
agree.
fuck?
I agree with that, but I will say that
Like,
while
there are no good choices, but
well, yeah, but I mean, like, and this is about as democratic as I get because, as far as I'm concerned, like, I fully believe in like brutal dictatorships and like Putin could just march in here and like we all have to go and fight in Ukraine.
no,
And be
he's
like,
doing
all right,
it.
cool. Okay.
He's doing it smoothly.
Yeah, all right. But I feel like if people want to like vote for whatever they want to vote for, then like as long as they like own up to it to some degree or another, then I'll accept that. On that note, though, and voting on fucking
Just on looks.
appearances and looks and whatnot, if you gave me a dog that would run for president, if there was a dog stupid enough to run for president and a party smart enough to accept that dog as a candidate, I would vote for that dog in a second.
I'm voting. I'm voting
innocent.
socks.
I hate
Socks
how
the cat.
right you might be.
Yeah,
should
oh,
that
exactly.
happen.
Yeah.
All right, so to wrap this up,
Socks the
yeah.
cat was an adorable.
I would
cat.
like to say thank you for the comment, Bleed Eagles Green. And also, I appreciate the kind words at the end. Good pod, boys. Stay zero. So stay zero out there. for
Thank you.
as well.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into. Oh, somebody else also said on that same video, yeah, he really sold out for Pharma. Exactly.
That's a short one.
No, I agree. All right, so let's see what else we got here because I feel like there are some that are absolutely venomous towards us.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Kinda
This is
steep, kinda steep.
This isn't. This was also on the same Jesse Ventura video, but it has nothing to do with anything. Obi Juan Jabroni.
Oh, that's good. I like that name.
Such a fun word.
My sister has huge nuts.
Good for her.
Congratulations.
That would make her your brother.
Yeah. Thanks.
Can we get them on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, we could
Just the nuts, not the.
just the nuts.
I'm asking the hard questions here.
You truly are.
All right, let's see what else we got here, and then we will wrap up. Laser_punch shark.
I like
Which
that.
is another
name,
good
too.
username. Tipping is for suckers.
A lot of fucking
Wow.
people who are douchebags.
Why are you guys so
My
poor?
God, like nobody wants to fucking tip anybody. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
All right, Joe Gamer 81. This was on our "Will You Boycott New Neil Gaiman Material" clip.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Holy fuck! What dog shit!
Yeah, I agree or disagree.
Yeah, I feel strongly about it. What Moses said.
Well, I mean, you don't have to come. Nobody strapped you down and made you watch the clip. Holy crap!
But if you're gonna comment, like a little context, just a
Yeah.
little.
Something to
We
respond to.
drink when we record these. I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's kind of like WTF to you too. Hey, you're right.
Yeah, it's just so many of these were just anti-tipping.
That
That is weird that our fan base is primarily anti-tipper.
Don't.
They're not our fan base.
Yeah, I don't think
They're the only ones commenting.
Yeah, these people are not fans.
Yeah. They just like hate tipping other
They're
people.
not fans yet, Dan.
Well, also, do you want these people as fans as well? Because they're not going to like go to our Patreon or our locals and leave us money because they don't believe in tipping.
Well, don't think of it as a tip. Think of it as a donation.
They don't. I'm pretty sure they don't do that either.
Well, it's different. It's the connotation.
an investment in your future entertainment.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right.
Believe in us so we can believe in you and decipher, not decipher, because I was putting the wrong syllable on the emphasis. Yeah. But, yeah, fuck you.
All right. So let's do the compliment. I alluded to this.
Oh, right, a sandwich.
Yes. So this is from Glitter. Holy, yeah. I should know this. Glitter, Glisten, Glass Floss, 2530. Moses is my spirit animal.
Wow. There it is. Wow.
Ride hard, girl, guy, and ride strong. All of you. All together.
We love your support, and thank you very much. Don't think we don't see it.
All right. We can relax. Brace.
Oh, my God, I can see it again.
I had to take them off several times. I have dark mode on my phone, so
Can I borrow your hat? Because I need a hat for this hat. I don't know if it'll be in frame, but
Now you're going to stretch it out.
you're damn
I can't
right.
have
This is a
that.
small. You got a small head.
That doesn't fit me. It was a gift from my banker, actually. I walked into the bank and they said I got
Oh, Mr. Monopoly.
I have no idea. It was, I guess, an inside joke that I forgot about.
All right.
So again, thank you so much for commenting. So whether you like us, hate us, fairly indifferent to our existence,
Otherwise, your content.
just leave it down below in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble, or if you see one of our shorts. If you happen to see one of them, God knows, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we can't even post them because it's 220 minimum. And
Is that
I
a
always
thing still?
What's
Is
that?
Twitter's still a thing?
Called X.
It's called X.
Oh, maybe I'm using the wrong one. It has extra X's.
And also TikTok. And also TikTok doesn't really like showing off our shit either.
No.
So we encourage you to subscribe to or follow us on all of those platforms so that way you don't miss any of our content. Also, guys, show them the glasses one more time.
We have nice merch.
We have nice merch. It's loudandrunk.com. You can also catch up on the podcast there. I already said
Actually, I like this one.
we also have t-shirts.
Yes, there are T-shirts. That everything is of high quality and ships quickly. It's good stuff. Check it out.
And also, if you really don't think commenting is enough and you really just want to let us have it, you can hit up Moses via our contact.
Yeah,
page.
honestly, the comments, those are our tips. So thanks for tipping. This wouldn't be worth it without you.
They'll
So-
never get that money back.
Your homework assignment,
Spent it on
follow us on social media, leave us a like, a comment, and share this video with all of your friends, whether you're on YouTube or if you think, Google is the next Skynet and you're just going through Rumble. You can do all of those things on both those platforms. Or if you're just listening to us, we're also on Spotify and Apple, and you can leave comments on both those platforms and a 5-star review.
Please.
So, for Justin, Pedro, Moses, I'm Dan, and until next time, let's do another RIP. to
R.I.P.
Val Kilmer.
Another alcohol.
So, aren't you?
All right.
Solancha.